we ready? Let's get into this right quick. Hold on. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Black Cinema and Black History episode 4. Today we are talking about Selma, Lord Selma. Quick plug right quick. If you go to watch this video, or sorry, not this video. If you go to watch this movie on YouTube, the movie name will be under Toto Borgella, and the entire movie is not there for some reason. So you will have to try to find somewhere else to watch the latter half of the movie. I ended up just watching it in clips. But luckily for me, it's another movie I've actually seen already and just didn't realize that I had. Selma, Lord Selma is a 1999 movie based off Selma. It's also based off of a book of the same name, I think. It might not be the same name, I don't remember. The book is by Cheyenne Webb. Cheyenne, which she also uses as the name of the main character in this series. Rachel West Nelson and Frank Sikora are also part of writing. Another writer on the movie is Cynthia Whitcomb. She's responsible for things like Buffalo Girls and I Dreamed of Murder. Casting. This is another Journee Smollett movie. Journee Smollett plays our main character, Cheyenne Webb, who was an 11-year-old girl. We also have Mackenzie Aston playing Jonathan Daniel. Clifton Powell, why can't I talk today? Clifton Powell plays Martin Luther King Jr., which I don't think this is the only movie in which he's ever done that. Ulla Joyce is Betty Webb. Elizabeth Omalami is Amelia Boyd. Femo Omalami is John Webb. Brett Rice is Sheriff Potts. Margot Mora is Alice West. Vaughn Coulter is Tom Webb. Moving on to the plot. So like I already said, this movie is based off a book of the same name by Cheyenne Webb. The book was written in 1980. The full title is Selma, Lord Selma, Selma, Lord Selma, Girlhood Memories of the Civil Rights Days. So then in 1965, in March of 1965, it was adapted into a feature-length film based off the march that took place in Selma, Alabama, and is known to this day as Bloody Sunday. The film tells the story of 11-year-old Cheyenne Webb, who was the youngest ever participant in the march that took place in March on Sunday, March 7th. Cheyenne is touched by a speech by Martin Luther King, who invites her to sing at the church later that night, and she becomes a devout follower. She constantly skips school to make meetings and decides she too wants to march. Originally, her teacher continues to chide her for skipping school all the time until eventually she manages to convince the teacher to talk openly about these kinds of things in class. Upon that happening, the teacher and other teachers have a meeting where they decide that they are going to do their own march, which scares the white police officers because they don't know what to do when their smart Negroes start acting a fool. During this march, Cheyenne attempts to use a white-only fountain while waiting for the colored fountain, and it takes too long, but is shooed away and yelled at by a young black boy, white boy. It's after this that Cheyenne's friend Jimmy Lee Jackson is killed, and this is what sets up the plot for the Selma, Alabama march. It's also been nicknamed Bloody Sunday. The marchers' goal is to march over and present to Governor Wallace and protest the unfair treatment of blacks in Selma, Alabama, especially when it comes to the right to vote, which is what this whole thing was really about, getting blacks the right to vote. Cheyenne and other African-American protesters march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge en route to Montgomery. As they are going, they are attacked by the police, pepper sprayed, maced, attacked by dogs, all of that. Because of this, Cheyenne has a very real encounter with what it's like to be a part of the civil rights movement. During this, also, a white preacher moves into Cheyenne's best friend's house to stay with her parents and to live with her parents and help with the movement. He meets with Dr. King and expresses that his main goal is to help with voter registration. He tries in vain to stop a group of KKK from burning a cross in front of the church. They laugh at him, continue with what they're doing. He attempts to go to the police, but unfortunately and unsurprisingly, his pleas are met with mockery. No one cares. And then Cheyenne tries to get him to help her convince her dad to become part of the movement. We found out from there that Cheyenne had a sister who was involved and they had to be sent away for her own safety, and that's why her parents were not so gung-ho on her being involved. However, her dad just tells her to be safe and not get killed, for lack of a better term. And so he's proud of her that she did her best despite the fact that she ends up getting pepper sprayed in the march when she comes back. Jonathan, the white preacher, is there at the march to help them and is the reason that Cheyenne gets home when she does, and that she gets home safe. Rating this story, I give acting a 9 and the story a 10, giving it an overall 9.5. It's a great story, well done, and I was mad. And I get mad a lot with some of these, which is why I'm glad that next week's movie is going to be a nice, refreshing movie that doesn't make you want to give up all hope and everything. Really gives a look into things that we went through back in the time that this came out, and it introduces you to your history, assuming you didn't already know it, of some things that happened. It also shows some things that happened back then that also happen now, where you're not allowed to talk about true events and things actually going on in school. You are to listen to the whitewashed version of these things and pretend that everything's okay now. You're not allowed to talk about the real/truthfulness behind the civil rights movement and stuff like that. Anyway, that was Selma, Lord Selma. As usual, I will be linking in the description how you can watch this movie completely free on YouTube. Next week we're going to be doing Just an Old Toot Song, which is a Cicely Tyson movie, and I am so excited to cover this movie because it's really good. But if you want to find out more details, then you'll have to tune in next week to watch the video. As always, this has been Black Cinema and Black History, your Black History Month special from Toshi J, and I'll see you next week.